Elon, it's great having you here in Texas. You're kicking ass. You're Texas through and through. Your whole spirit. We love you. Whatever happens with Trump down the road, should we change the Constitution so you can run for president? Would you ever think about that?
I would like to stay as a technologist and build rockets and electric cars and, things that technologies that hopefully have a good effect on the world and advance civilization. That would be my preference. I would not like to be president. So I would just like to build things that are further civilization.
I think that's smart.
That's my
I mean,
goal.
that's a smart. I think that's a smart answer. Are you concerned if the deep state establishment, it's not just one group, is able to kill Trump or not let him run for office for the repercussions? I mean, are you optimistic for the future currently, or just how do you feel about the election coming up?
Well, I think it will not be a boring year. That's for sure. I think it's gonna be eventful. I suspect. I don't know. You seem to be quite concerned that people will try to assassinate Trump, but I don't know. I obviously, and I'm against assassination generally. So I guess if Hitler was alive, I'd be in favor of assassinating him. But Stalin, that kind of thing.
I
You
would be
know,
too. Your attitude
yeah.
is we can sell the world on freedom and humanity 2.0 and a new renaissance. The establishment will just step aside because our ideas are so good. Is that what you're saying?
Look, I think what I'm saying is that I think it is very difficult to predict the future. That we're certainly going to have a very contentious election and perhaps some contentious elections worldwide. The X platform will strive to be as truthful as possible about what's going on, and that's going to be the goal. And SpaceX is going to build rockets, and Tesla's going to build cars. And as for what will happen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think, man,
Is there any big
2024 is going to be quite the encore for 2023, is my suspicion.
I know you've talked about incredible jets you want to invent, so many other things. Is there any other big invention you've got on the drawing board in the back of your mind that you haven't announced to the world that you want to tell people about today?
No, this would not be the forum for announcing any new products or technologies. I mean, that we do have, the Neuralink chip, which I know some people might be concerned about, but that's really something that will take a very long time to, be in any kind of widespread use. We've got the first use. The first patient will get a Neuralink chip. This is a quadriplegic, and it will enable them to control their computer and their phone. And then,
And my uncle was in a motorcycle accident and he was having seizures for about to die, couldn't even walk. He got one, it's not one of your brain chips, but a brain
yeah,
chip. And actually he can walk and talk and is happy now. So
yeah,
that's not bad.
exactly. So, I mean, it's the regulatory stuff on this is very intense. So, the first one will have, you could think of it sort of like a telepathy. You can sort of control your computer and phone just by thinking. So it's kind of like telepathy. And then the one after that will be, I don't know, we're trying to think of a name for it, but you can think of it like blind sight. Even if somebody has lost both eyes or lost the optic nerve and is completely blind, we can actually give them some amount of sight. Ultimately, I think high resolution sight, Geordie LaForge from Star Trek, you could actually see in multiple wavelengths. You could see like ultraviolet and infrared, and even see radar if you want.
And by the way, for people that don't know, Elon's not lying. Even in MIT papers, they've actually done tests. That's what they say though. Is I know the problem is just narrowing the sight to our bandwidth. They say these people see everything, right? Like a full spectrum.
Yeah, you can have it's a point at which you have a camera. You can have a camera that can receive photons of many wavelengths. So you could see, even in darkest night, and you could see ultraviolet, you could see infrared. Like I said, you could even see radar if you want. So,
Wow.
it would be the kind of thing that it's probably trademark thing, but I think blindside is a cool name for it.
I
It's
think
like,
it's beautiful.
yeah.
We get one question from Mark Dice because this is the best interview ever. Mark Dice is a great journalist. He stood up for me for the last 5 years when nobody else would. Mark, quick question for Mark, please.
A comment, really, just to reinforce to everybody listening, all the journalists, and thank you, by the way, Elon, for unbanning Alex, for everything that you're doing for the platform, for humanity. But I just want to reinforce, and I'm glad you retweeted this, Alex, the reason why Twitter cited Alex being banned, contrary to popular belief, is not because he entertained some conspiracy theories about Sandy Hook, as crazy as they were. And Elon just confirmed that the Twitter logs said this. He confronted Oliver Darcy, a public figure on public property, when he was working in the capacity of a journalist. And they cited that as
But Mark, that's old news. Let's move on from Alex Jones.
Well,
we're talking to Elon Musk. What's your question for Elon Musk?
I didn't see the Twitter file in the Twitter files. Can you release data about the choices that were made regarding the trending list? Because the trending list drives the news cycle, as you know, and they can create a self-fulfilling prophecy by manually inserting topics in there, getting people to talk about them. It becomes a topic. It becomes news. Did I miss that in the Twitter files, or was that just not released? I would like more data on the manipulation of the trending list to manipulate the news cycles over the previous ownership.
Yeah, well, there was a significant manipulation of the trending list, and yeah, worldwide. I mean, you could just, I'd say, like, as a general rule of thumb, whatever conspiracy theory you've got about Twitter is probably true, even more true than you think it is.
Are you taking
So
precautions?
now, I think the path to having a sort of a clean system is maximum transparency. So that's why, like, for community notes, the software for community notes is completely open source. You can see every line. The data for community notes is completely open source. You can see the data, you can see the logic, and you can independently create the community note conclusion. So you can tell right away if there's manipulation. And there's always going to be with these things, it is not black or white. There's always going to be some degree of manipulation, but you just want to try to put as much sunlight on it. As I say, sunlight's the best disinfectant. You want to have it be as clear and transparent as possible. This will minimize the amount of manipulation. So the more visible something is, the less it is in the shadows, the cleaner it will get. Will not be perfect, but it will be much better than something that is hidden.
One other point, I hope that you're making precautions for the possibility of X being banned from the App Store, using it as a save to home screen type of a feature. As you know, that's probably a very real possibility over the next 12 months. But one other thing here, and again, appreciate your time. I would also just politely ask that the InfoWars account and Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew, they're employees of Alex, be unsuspended. They were lumped in with that initial suspension. And maybe I think it's time. I do believe CNN violated the terms of service of harassment. They posted a video a while ago, years ago, showing them harassing a poor old lady because she shared something on Facebook that originated from Russia. And you could see on the house, they show up to her front yard, you can actually see her address, the number plate right on her house, and that's still on Twitter. So,
But Mark, let's not become.
Yeah, exactly.
no, I just kind of want to troll them, give them taste of their own
Well,
medicine. But anyway,
I mean, I do want to be clear that doxing, which includes revealing the pseudonym of someone. So I want to be clear. Sometimes some publications have claimed that revealing the pseudonym of someone is not doxing when it obviously is, will result in at least a temporary suspension. We will be very reluctant to give permanent suspensions, but we will give temporary suspensions for any kind of doxing activity or anything that endangers the health of another person in a meaningful way.
So,
And
so
that
I
includes
think you
major
don't like Nikki.
publications. It does not matter who you are. It doesn't matter how big you are or small. Now, I should say this. There is one. We do have a UN exclusion rule, which is that if it's a head of state recognized by the UN, even if they say things that are kind of crazy, which they do, then we don't suspend a head of state. Just for the same reason that the UN allows heads of state to say crazy things at the UN Assembly. But
because we need to hear. We need to hear.
We need to hear that.
What everybody has to say.
I was just going to ask, I guess you don't like Nikki Haley's idea of basically doxing everyone?
No, I hate it.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
crazy. The thing is that a lot of people obviously would face repercussions from their employer or from their government or from some organization if their identity is revealed, and that therefore inhibits the public dialogue. So people, there've been professors who've been suspended for favoriting things on old Twitter. They literally got suspended for just tapping a favorite button. This is so you can say, like, look, if a tenured professor can get suspended from their job for just liking a post on the X platform, then obviously there is some need for people to be able to post things anonymously. Otherwise, they simply will not be able to speak their mind.
Absolutely,
they're losing their job.
It's anti-whistleblower, but I just want to say this, because I think the community notes is the best thing ever. Even if somebody says something really horrible, I think there should be some buffer zone to at least let them respond as much as they can before they get banned. Because what I see everywhere is the PR firms will say somebody has said something they didn't say. They create this woke mob response. Then the person's taken down, and then most of the time, it's not even true what was claimed.
General?
Yeah, we're very much going to err on the side of freedom of speech, which is really just saying, in America, we're gonna uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that's what we're going to do, and uphold the laws of the country. And if the laws change, we'll then change our behavior to match the laws, and we'll do so. And we also can only match the laws to other countries, because sometimes people will say, well, why don't you demand freedom of speech in some other country in the world? I'm like, well, we don't make the laws in that country, and if we don't adhere to the laws of the country, they will simply cut us off. And so, we can't do more than that. So we're basically.
What about the other factors, Elon, before going to General Flynn? You've got obviously laws, but you've got the revenue, still running a business, and you've got external pressure. how do you balance all these when fighting for free speech?
Well, we're gonna obviously favor free speech. I believe my action has been very clear in this regard. That if it is a choice between money and freedom, we will pick freedom.